This steak is cooked using the reverse sear method. It's juicy, tender, and freaking delicious. This steak, on the other hand, is cooked using the competition style steak method. The flavors are enhanced. The look is made better with beautiful sear mark and a shine. But is it actually a better steak? Let's find out.
A big thanks to Napoleon Grills for sponsoring this episode.
There are two kinds of people in this world. One is the steak purist. He loves his steak as simple as possible with a little sprinkle of salt. And he believes that this is the best way to eat his steak because it's the way it's meant to be. But there are also the people that like to enhance the flavors. Like chefs, they put on a little bit of butter, some garlic, some rosemary, and there are even people that are taking it to the next level. They make a competition style steak. They enhance their steak so much that they can win competitions with it. Now the big question of course is the purist version better than the enhanced version? And to figure this out, I selected two beautiful ribeye steaks. And you can instantly recognize the quality because of the dark red meat and the intramuscular fat. For this test, I'm gonna first cook the reverse seared steak. Therefore, I need to fire up my barbecue. I'll be using the Napoleon Kettle Pro grill. This is a charcoal grill with a cast iron grill grate. And that, my friends, is a dream combination for a purist. You're gonna let the charcoal do its job and use the characteristics of the cast iron to boost the flavors inside the steak. I'm gonna take off the grill grate, put some charcoal in the back of the grill. I'm going to put in some Napoleon Premium charcoal, bank it all to one side, then put in a couple of fire starters and light it up. Then I'm going to put the grill grates in, and as you can see, I can adjust the levels. For now, I'm going to set it to the highest setting and let the fire starters burn down. It's been about 5 minutes, and if you listen closely, you hear that the knisper in the barbecue has changed. The fire starters are now burned out and the fire is actually starting. Now with the reverse sear method, we start at low temperature. Therefore, we don't need a searing hot grill. We just want to smoke the steak. So I'm gonna close the lid, and then at the bottom of the grill, I'm gonna set the fan to almost closed. While at the top of the grill, I'm gonna leave it open because I want the hot air to escape, and the temperature is really controlled with the bottom vent. We're gonna give it 10 more minutes to dial in a little bit, and then we'll put the steak on. Of course, I'm gonna stick in a wireless thermometer to keep my eye on that steak. Just gonna make sure I have it center in the eye. There we go. And this steak is now ready to hit the grill. The grill's up to temperature. I'll be cooking this steak at a temperature of 120 degrees Celsius, which is around 240 degrees Fahrenheit. All I have to do is set my app. I'm cooking a steak. I want to cook it to a temperature of 54 degrees Celsius. That is now set. So all I have to do with this steak is wait for it to be done. You hear them? The geese? Food is just flying through the air here. Hundreds of them. Oh, let's not get sidetracked, because we got another steak to do, and this is the competition style steak, and it requires more work before I can put it on my grill. You see, one of the things that you want in a competition is that people enjoy the steak in one bite. And there's a magic trick to that, because on the outside you have the spinalis, and the inside you have the eye, and both of these pieces of steak taste freaking amazing, and the judges will love it. However, there's also this little fat cap on the outside, and it's got a little bit of silver skin underneath. If a judge bites into that, he's going to instantly reduce the amount of points he's giving you because he has to bite through something. You want a super soft, pleasant experience. And the same goes for this beautiful bit here at the end. Even though it's a nice bit, it really doesn't belong to the ribeye, and it's a less enjoyable cut to eat than the spinalis or the eye itself. So both of them have got to go. And as you can see, I really need to get rid of that hard fat that sits on the side, the silver skin, any floppy bits. Now look at this. This is looking way better. We now have a steak that looks completely different. It is now almost round, and I just want to get that last little tip off. I'm gonna go for absolute perfection, even if it makes no sense for a person that will be eating this. To the judges, it matters. And look at it. Now it's a beautiful round ribeye. We got the eye, we got the spinalis. These are the best part of this steak. All of the rest is cut up waste. Now personally, I won't let it go to waste, but what are you gonna do with these little scraps other than put it in your meat grinder? Yeah, waste. Now that the steak is trimmed up, I want to keep it in shape, and therefore I'm going to tie it up with some butcher's twine. Not too firm, not too tight. If you tie it up too firm, the meat has nowhere to go, so give it a little bit of breathing. To season the steak, I'll be using the Texas barbecue rub. It has pepper, it has salt, it has garlic powder, it has onion powder, and that's just a general good way to add flavor to the steak. Now the second layer that I'm going to put on is the PitmasterX beef rub. It's a great overall beef rub, but bringing these two together will give it a nice barbecue flavor, and it has a little bit more pepper, so the flavors are more intense. Also with the red, we're going to have a nicer color in the end on our steak. I'm going to pat this down gently. Now the seasoning will stick. I'm going to flip it around. Just a nice thick layer of the PitmasterX Texas barbecue rub and a nice covering layer of the beef rub. I'm going to let this sit for at least 10 minutes so that the steak can start to absorb the flavors from the steak. I'd rather even go longer than that, maybe over half an hour. And basically then we're brining the steak with the flavors of the seasoning. The meter says take it off now, even though it actually is not 54 degrees Celsius yet, but it's 52. But it's calculating the time also that we need to rest our steak. So it's 52 degrees Celsius now. That's why I need to take it off immediately when I get the notification. And then I'm going to let it rest here on this cutting board for about 10 minutes, or at least until the temperatures drop. And in that time, we're going to change the setup on the Napoleon Kettle Pro grill. I'm going to take the grill grates out, spread out the charcoal over the barbecue, and then add more charcoal to it. I'm going to leave the lid open, let the charcoal fully light up. And to help with that, I'm also going to open up the bottom vent all the way to maximize airflow. I'm just going to throw it on anywhere, because looks doesn't matter and flavor do. As you can see, the cast iron is pretty hot and it sears in an instant. Flip it around and look at that. Isn't that a beauty? As you might notice, I'm shifting the steak a little bit each time I'm putting it on the grill, so it hits a different part of the grill, and which is still hot, and therefore instantly it gets that beautiful sear. This is now done, and there it is, the purist preferred steak. And the ultimate purist will never season their steak up front. They will always season their steak afterwards, because if you're a purist, you're not going to brine your steak. And that's what you're doing when you're seasoning it up front. And to finish it, I like to use a finishing salt like fleur de sel, which is really light, and it will melt down on your steak while you're waiting for it or while you're slicing it up. I think now it's time we focus more on this beauty right here and how you need to grill it if you want to win a competition. Now the grill is still hot and set up for grilling, and I'm going to take out my special package. I know you got some question marks when I say special package, but it's not that spectacular. It's just this. It's just some grill grates. And these grill grates do two things. They help prevent flare-ups, and they also help to get beautiful sear marks. First I'm gonna let this thing get insane hot. I mean, almost red glowing hot. Once it's hot, it's time to put the steak on. Now I gotta be intentful, I can't just throw it down in the middle. I put it on a spot first where I'm gonna get a beautiful sear mark, and then I can flip it around and move it to another place where it's still hot and the metal still has energy. I want to tap it a little bit, make sure that it connects real well. And then I'm going to let it sit for about 30 seconds. You can see a little bit of smoke coming off of it. That comes from burning the herbs. I'm going to use a little bit of ghee to butter up the grill grates. There we go. Prepare the next spot. Now I'm going to angle it 45 degrees onto the next hot spot. Let's take a look. Look at that. Beautiful sear marks. Now let's do the other side. And again, a new spot. Seasoning up the grill grates as we move it around. Yeah, looking good. Now that we got beautiful sear marks, we actually still need to cook this steak. So I'm gonna take it off, remove the grill grates, bank all of the charcoal to one side. To lower the temperature even further, I'm gonna close the bottom vent all the way. Once the grill cooled down a bit, I'm gonna put the steak on opposite of the fire, and every now and then I'm going to brush on a little bit of ghee while keeping the lid closed as much as possible. Of course, I'm checking the temperature in the center of my steak, and once it reached a core temperature of 53 degrees Celsius, I know it's done, because I still have a hot grill here and the temperatures were a little higher than you would normally have, so you have to calculate that in and you take it off 1 or 2 degrees before it's actually done, which is 54 degrees Celsius core temperature. Now, I would like to suggest starting with the competition style steak. Or should we? Maybe we should just start with the, I don't know what I want. I want it all. Let's just take a look. Wow, look at that. Beautiful, delicious pink steak. Got a nice crust, sear marks, seasoned well. Let's do that taste test. Yeah, delicious. It's just really, really good beef. This is what you want to eat when you eat steak. Nice. Okay, the competition style steak. That is a beautiful looking steak. Look at that. Ooh, juicy, tender. And you see how we only have 2 pieces of meat, the spinalis and the eye. Both are absolutely perfect. It looks really good because it's kind of like eye candy, the steak. We got that nice browning on the outside. We got a nice crust. But the question of course is, what does it taste like? That is one tasty steak of beef. Truly, truly exceptionally flavorful. But there is a problem with it. You know, I really, really want to like this steak. I think it just looks way better than the reverse seared steak. Granted, it does not have the same edge to edge pinkness. However, it is a beautiful looking crust on the outside. But the big problem with this is, it tastes really good, but mainly it tastes like seasoning and butter. Now for a competition, that is perfect because you get these crappy steaks or not great steaks and you need to make sure that they're really good. I could have added a little bit of dried beef stock to it and that would have enhanced the beef flavors in the steak. Adding dried beef stock to steak to make it taste like steak is kind of weird, right? Let's be honest, you can do this with chicken or with pork and make it taste good. Whereas the reverse seared steak is just, it is just beef. It is a cow. I'm eating an animal and I'm feeling good about it. What we need to do is grill a steak and none of that competition style stuff. Okay, competition style stuff, but not on my steak. I really didn't want to be as assertive about it. Oh, let's see what the dogs think. Which one? Which one? Dude, she doesn't want the competition steak. She wants... Well, okay, she does want the competition steak, but she definitely preferred the reverse sear steak over the competition steak. Now, of course, it's not dog food, but I'm just saying that my dog is a highly trained eating professional. It knows. It just knows what's better. I ruined my dog.